Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
Right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Idaho Business Podcast. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for being with me along this journey. It's been crazy, I'm sure, listening to some of my antics, but I appreciate you joining all the same. So, like always, we are sponsored by Sensations. These guys are amazing and making you feel and look your best. These guys are offering your free tan, your very first tan for free. If you just go in there and mention that you heard about them on the Idaho Business Podcast, located in Twin Falls and Pocatello by the Gold's Gyms. These guys are great. So go in there, get your free tan on us. No big deal, just because we are who we are, and we're always trying to make your life better, either with business advice and mindset help, along with making yourself look a little nicer as well. So, man, today I was thinking, as I was listening to an awesome podcast from Ed Mylett. So you're going to get some paraphrasing a lot from Ed Mylett today, because I know I've used him a lot in my podcast, and one of these days you'll see I will get him on this podcast because he's an idol of mine. But he talked with a guy there named Dean Graziasos, and I hope I'm saying that right. This guy is just an amazing guy, and both of them very successful. And they're talking about, and this is something that I've been thinking about lately. What do you do when you achieve a certain level of success and you're comfortable? And obviously, okay, maybe you're not exactly where you want to be at, but at the same time, you're comfortable. You're making, the money that keeps you comfortable. How do you keep having the passion or the drive to continue to push you forward? And he talked a lot about lighthouses. So what over here in landlocked Idaho, we don't have a lot of lighthouses, but obviously lighthouses are there to steer people away from danger, tell them where not to go, or show them where is a safe area to go, like into harbor and stuff like that. So we talked about these lighthouses, how they're important to move for ourselves. Say we're comfortable at the time that we're currently at, and in deep down your mind there's certain things that you want to achieve, and you're not there yet. So take a certain step of what's going to help you achieve that, and attach it to the lighthouse. That is your lighthouse, and move it 200 yards out, and then wake up that next morning with that same zeal, just like you had that same zeal to make that first $100,000. You got to wake up every morning thinking, okay, this is how I've got to do it. I'm gonna bust everything I have to make it back to that lighthouse, so I can keep pushing myself forward. But how do you push yourself forward? That's kind of what we're talking about today. How do you break past those comfortable barriers that I'm sure many of us are at, and I've been there before too. And I thought it was just super interesting to have this conversation today, because I'm sure many of us are at this point, but many of us know that there's a lot left in the tank for us. And he talked about, what if your kids could set up some video device and could video you 24 hours a day, and then they could watch that video anytime they wanted to? Would you be someone different, someone better? Would you develop a better version of yourself? Yeah, probably. And that's the thing too. It's like we talked about you are your character. Everything that is you is developed in those times when no one's watching. And within that internal growth and thinking in your mind, because obviously there's someone always watching, right? If you're a Christian, uh, we believe God's always watching, and he's taking that video of our lives. When we're alone, we think no one else is watching. What are we doing? What kind of person are we? And as you kind of think of that way and start to understand, like, you're always being watched, and if you really brought it to that micro level of, what if my kids could watch my life? Would I be proud of what I'm doing during this life? So that's a huge one for me, and I'm sure for everyone, is to think, man, there is a better version of me. No matter how good you are or who you claim to be, there's always a better version of yourself to be unlocked. Correct? I would think so. And that's the thing too, is that there's so many different things that we need to be aware of. Blaming others is never something that's going to get us ahead. Dean Gracios said, when you blame others, you never give yourself the opportunity to mature and grow. And I think that's huge. I've been on the receiving end and the giving end. I'm sure of that. And it doesn't help you grow. It doesn't help you mature. It just helps you push the blame. Excuses. No one likes excuses, and they get you nowhere. He talked about Dean Gracias. I'm sure I'm murdering that name. Gracios, I think. He talks about having, when he was in a time in his life, and I'm sure we've all been there. I can think of a time in my life, several times in my life, where the ship, you visualize yourself as a ship, beautiful ship, is sitting in this calm, beautiful harbor around all these other beautiful ships. And but in the back of your mind, this isn't the harbor you belong in. And you start to think to yourself, okay, it's calm here though. I'm comfortable here, what we've talked about before. And the only way to get to the next level is to go out of the harbor and through the storm. And that's the thing. When you go through the storm, sometimes as you venture out of the harbor and gets a little rough, some of us tend to turn back, and I'm sure all of us have at one time or the other, turn back when it gets a little rough or choppy. You're like, man, it's not worth it. I don't want to go through this storm. And you turn back to go safely into the harbor again. But if you really want to find your next self and to level up, you've got to venture through that storm. And when it gets rough, and when it gets storming, and the storms are breaking over your ship, you continue to break through those comfortable barriers, and you just continue to push forward. You can say we have roots. When you're comfortable, you kind of have roots. And once we get rid of those roots of excuses, and you sell your boat as strong as you possibly can, you get rid of those excuses as the BS that you tell people, that you're doing things that you're not really doing, or the things that you can achieve, but you're putting any effort into it. Once you get rid of all that and start living your life as if your life is being recorded and your kids could watch it 24 hours a day. Dean Gracios always said, at this point, your ship turns into a ship with 5 engines in it, and you just continue to push yourself further and further past the storm. And once you get to past that storm, your next level lives beyond that storm, and it lives beyond what you're scared of and what you're too lazy for, and etc. Whatever it is, it lives beyond that. It lives beyond your comfort zone. I thought that was really key to understand, because there's things in all of our lives, I'm sure, that we know that there's certain things we should be doing better. There's certain things that we want to achieve, but we're kind of sitting, and we're comfortable where we're at. So sometimes you'll venture into that storm, but you know what? I'm comfortable where I'm at. I know, I could stay where I'm at and still be, have some success and be the person, that I'm comfortable being. Or you could venture out. and get through that and get some bumps and bruises on you, scrape up that stern of that ship a little bit. But once you get through, you're in the promised land. And Ed Milet talked about, what at one point when you go visit your maker, at the very end of your life, and you go into your judgment, and what happens if he pulls out his iPhone? If Christ pulls out his iPhone and says, Spencer, you did good, you did good here and there and all this, but let me show you a video of what you could have become, what you could have been. And that's one thing that should continue to want to make you push forward and continue to take that lighthouse and set it out 200 yards so you can continue to churn to be that person that you want to be that person that you should be. And then Dean Gracios talked about, this is a quote that I loved. He said, "Screw what you're bad at and work on getting better at what you're already good at." Sometimes we focus on the stuff that we're bad at, and we're thinking, okay, let's spend some time every week to work on those kind of things. But what if those things aren't really income producing things? And he gave an example of a man who is in a high up mastermind group, very successful, probably millionaire. They were kind of going through their goals of what they're going to achieve before their next meeting. And this guy said, I want to be more organized. I'm sloppy. I'm super unorganized. I need to get better organizing my life, my office, everything. And Dean Gracios said, why do you say these things? And does your wife think that? And he said, yes. And he says, did your teachers tell you that when you're growing up? And he says, yes. And he kind of had some shame up around the fact that he's always kind of been that unorganized person. And Dean Gracios said, you know what? You're always going to be that person. And the guy kind of slumped his shoulders thinking, oh, crap, no way. I'm never going to be that person. I'm never going to be that person that's organized. And Dean Gracios says, back to his quote, screw what you're bad at and work on getting better at what you're already good at, because that builds confidence. And as you build that confidence, you have confidence to take on all the other things in your life. And he says, wouldn't it be better for you to flip another home every year and then hire someone to make you the most organized person that you'd want to be? And this person was just elated when he thought about that idea, thinking, wow, yeah, that'd be amazing if I could do that. That way I'm not having to spend my time and my efforts on that kind of stuff. I don't need to go to Office Max and label all this kind of stuff. And it goes back to what we've talked about in many other episodes of, if you're not good at it and you don't have a desire to do it, why do it at all? Hire it out to people that are good at it and want to do it for you for some money. And if you have a problem that requires money and you have money, then you don't have a problem. And that's the words of my mentor, my coach, Mike Campion. I love that. I love that quote. I use it all the time. But Dean Gracios goes on to continues and talks about audit what builds your confidence and audit what robs your confidence. Because if something's robbing your confidence, break away from it and don't do it again. Get away from that. And speaking of confidence, what better way to build your confidence than to look better? And I know some of our sponsors help us look and feel better, but Fresh Prep Meals, they're out of Pocatello, Idaho, and they make delicious meals, and they will ship them or offer community located pickup locations from Burley all the way to Idaho Falls. And even though you're busy, even though you're trying to break through those comfort zones, and you're trying to sell your ship through that storm, and you're not the best cook, you're not someone who wants to eat that person's food. And I've been there. I hate eating my own cooking when it comes to that kind of healthy stuff. These guys can do it for you. And if you have extra time not meal prepping, what else can you do during the day to make more money to be able to afford their services? That's the thing you have to think about, So that's the thing we're talking about now is screw what you're bad at and work on getting better at what you're already good at. So make that money, work hard, make that money, save us some time prepping food, save that time not going to the fast food and getting bigger and bigger, build the confidence by eating these fresh prep meals conveniently at your leisure, at your office, in your refrigerator, pop them in the microwave, whatever you need to do. And you will see that confidence come from your body changing and getting thinner. And that's something I'm working on right now. As you all know, that's one thing that's been holding me back is my physique. I'm trying to push forward, push through that storm, and keep going through those uncomfortable things. It's much easier and much nicer to eat a cheeseburger than it is to sit yourself down and eat some healthy food. But I'm telling you, fresh prep foods makes it easy to eat healthy because they're delicious meals. So if you go to our website, theidahobusinesspodcast.com, click on their logo or name, and you'll find the promo code Idaho Business. You type that in as you sign up for your meal prep, you'll get your first meal for free and another meal to give to whoever you want. There you go. So in conclusion, guys and gals, build your confidence to overcome being comfortable. Keep moving your lighthouse out and pushing yourself beyond the storms where your next level lives, and enjoy that journey. I love that podcast. And if all you guys are listening now, continue to listen to other podcasts that inspire you and make you want to be better. And if you're not listening to that positive content that builds, increases your confidence, get away from it. If anything that you're doing robs you of your confidence, if there's certain people you're around that robs your confidence, get away from them. Break loose of those people. Surround yourself with people and content and influences that increase your confidence, and live your life as if your kids could watch it 24 hours a day. And I've got 4 fingers pointing back at me when I'm pointing at you, because that's something I'm working on as well. So enjoy that, enjoy what you're good at, and find the confidence to push through those storms and level up on the other side of that storm. Okay, until next time, keep on keeping on. Stay away from the negative Nancy's. Keep that confidence. Push forward with faith that you can be the person that you should be. Until next time, everyone, adios. And thank you for listening. And whoever would like to share their experiences or their stories with us, go to the Idaho Business Podcast, click on Be a Guest, sign up. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to talk to you. Adios. See you guys.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.